Hello everybody and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. For today's Currie Cup Round 6 review, another very interesting weekend of rugby. Lots of drama with the likes of the Lions being denied a win right at the end as the Creekers went over through prop Table Lamini well after extra time with, for me, what was a definite knock-on in the build-up, which Griffin Colby just basically ignored and decided was backwards. So, yeah, it was a very strange weekend of rugby, but very important wins for the likes of the Free State, the Bulls, and the Pumas, as well as the Griquas, and a table which is changing quite a lot at the moment. Before we look at the results, please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. It all started on Friday as the Bulls got a very important victory over the Sharks, and the Bulls having a much better two weeks than the previous couple of months. They've now gone back-to-back wins in the Currie Cup as well as winning in the URC. And in the Cheetahs, a very important victory for them against the Western Province. Wasn't maybe as comfortable as they would like it to have been, but the important thing was to get the points and remain on top of the log, although with that Pumas hammering of the Griffins on yesterday of 64 points to 6, really showing the Griffins what the current champions are all about. Then sort of, that top spot very much between Pumas and Free State. And then the Lions versus the Greek was a very frustrating match. I didn't watch along for it, and I felt that it kind of demonstrated everything that was wrong with the Currie Cup at the moment, and a lot of it actually got down to the players or the rugby, because I think the standard rugby we're seeing in the Currie Cup, we're seeing some very cool matches. 24 points to 20 is a nice close match. 26 points to 17 is pretty close as well. Now, 25 points to 18 on the face of it looks pretty close, but I watched yesterday, and between the broadcasts and the officiating, I thought everything was wrong with the Currie Cup. From a broadcast perspective, the entire match went on, and we saw minimal replays, which didn't allow us to really understand what was going on. There were penalties being blown for certain things, and we never got to see replays of it. So we still continuously in the dark. And to be perfectly honest, Griffin Colby yesterday showed me why he should not be officiating at this level at the moment. For example, Jana Burta got a yellow card for a head-on-head collision in a tackle. Now, you don't want to advocate for red cards. You don't want to see red cards. But the whole point of red cards is to make the game safer and to change players' behavior. Jana Burta went into a tackle upright, leading with his head, and there was head-on-head tackle with Bryson Mills, who had to go off for an HIA. Now, the mitigating factor was apparently he was passive in the tackle in that he wasn't launching himself forward. You are not allowed to tackle upright leading with head-on-head. It was head-on-head collision. That was the first collision. He just stood up and tried to wrap us up. There was no attempt to get down. There was no attempt to drop his head and shoulder into a good position. And he only gets a yellow card. There are so many red cards we were seeing where we were like, but, they did everything right. They got themselves trying low. The tackle technique was right there, and the tackle sort of dipped, but there was head-on-head collision, so it's a red card. And yet we see a blatant non-attempt to try and move down, and yet it's not a red card. So it's frustrating to see that sort of, the inconsistency in decisions. 10 minutes later, Jared Keynes commits one penalty in the red zone, and apparently it's cynical, but it's not like it was a counter attack or something like that. The entire Lions defense was spread and gets a yellow card for it. The same punishment for what, for me, is a really poor tackle, which resulted in the head injury. Moving on from that, the Griquas went through 23 phases, and earlier in the game, the Lions, when McKendy was penalized, penalized for a knock-on, where he caught the ball and sort of bounced sideways as he ran past and then re-grabbed it again, and the referee said no, it was forwards. Fine. The exact same thing happened in the build-up to the last Griquas try, and Griffin Colby said play on. It was almost identical. So it was frustrating because it was a pretty close match from two sides, and kicking boots weren't on for both George Whitehead and Tian Swanepoel, and if they had, it could have been a whole different game. But unfortunately, it was a game ruined by poor officiating, and it really needs to change. And I don't like having going after the referees. I think it's a very tiring narrative. But you look at performances like yesterday from Griffin Colby, and it's difficult to not complain about it and to not look at that as being one of the reasons why the Currie Cup is a really struggle to watch, because that was the issue yesterday. It wasn't the standard of rugby. It wasn't what was happening in the game. It was the fact that an official who was just incompetent just didn't know what was going on and ruined a good game. But regardless of that, in terms of the log, this is how things do stand. So Pumas at the top with points difference. 102 on points difference after 5 wins is pretty impressive. 25 points on a level with points with the Cheetahs, and they've got 10-point gap between them and the rest of the field. It's then the Sharks in third, Western Province in fourth, Lions in fifth, Griquas in sixth, and they are literally, there's no points there. And then the Bulls are suddenly back in the hunt. So the Bulls can actually move themselves into playoff positions thanks to those two victories, because the likes of the Lions and the Griquas Even West Brom haven't really taken advantage of a couple of the games that they had opportunities to. So it's a very close race at the moment for sort of third and fourth, which is quite entertaining. At the moment, Pumas and Free State quite well ahead, and they like to try and keep that way. But what will be interesting is now as the end of the URC comes to an end, the Lions, for example, get a lot stronger. If the Bulls and the Province and the Sharks, for example, those sort of players, as they get knocked out of the URC or as the URC campaign comes to an end, those teams will also get stronger. So it'll be interesting to see how it'll all sort of move ahead. But yeah, let me know what you thought about this weekend of Currie Cup Rugby. Please do smash like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steven. I'll chat to you soon.